Hi everyone, it's Natalie. Tonight I'm going to be walking you through the process of drawing a face. I know I've made a video similar to this, but I thought I'd show you guys again, but with a different photo reference. And it would be like a different person altogether, but I just want to walk through the process of doing it, and I'll be making it a little bit larger this time, so hopefully you guys will be able to see more of the details. To draw it, I'll just be using a regular mechanical pencil, an eraser, and to shade it, I'll use some Prismacolor pencils such as blacks, gray, and white. White is going to be one of the most important because this really makes things pop on the gray paper. This is toned gray paper, by the way, by Strathmore. So let's begin. I'm going to start by just sketching some boundaries as to like a general face shape. I'm going to start with an oval that approximates the shape of the face. This isn't going to be a final face shape or anything, it's just to where I can lay out different features. And halfway between this oval, I will draw a line right here, and this is where the eyes will go. That's just a general rule of thumb, that the eyes are halfway between the head. Oh, to you guys who showed up a little bit late, I'm going to be drawing a portrait today. Okay, so after I draw the eye line right there, oh, this is one thing I forgot to do, is to draw a line down the middle just to keep symmetry, and like if you draw an eye right here, it should be approximately the same distance from the line on the other side. So after that, about halfway between the eye and the bottom of the chin, I'm going to draw a line there for the approximate location of the nose. And halfway from the nose line to the chin line, I'm going to draw a line there for the approximate location of the mouth. And the hair, you can just draw a general shape just so you know where it is. That's always a good idea, because the hair really does enhance a portrait because it frames the face and it kind of holds it all together. So I'm just quickly sketching that, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to solidify the face shape. And whenever you draw portraits, you don't have to go in a specific step-by-step process. You can really begin anywhere that you want. It's just this is one of my preferred methods of doing it. Sometimes I change it up too. There's sometimes where I draw a pair of eyes first, and then from that comes a portrait. Okay, I'm going to start with drawing the eyes because the eyes, since they're in the middle, they do help hold together the portrait, and depending on like the size and location of where the eyes are, you can determine where you want to draw some of the other features. So I'm going to leave a little bit of space for the nose because I don't want the eyes to be touching the nose. It might be too close. So by looking at a picture, I can see the approximate area of how big the nose is, and I can approximate where the eyes are from the center based on that. Whenever you sketch, make sure you sketch lightly because it can be really difficult to erase bold lines later on. And you don't even have to limit yourself to lines. You can color in shapes that help you understand where a certain area is shaded, and that can help create the shape of a nose, and by understanding that shape of the nose you can determine where some other features are. So that's what I did right here with these two little shapes, I guess. And like right outside that, I'm going to draw the eye, and the eye will be about this big. So whenever drawing eyes, think about drawing two curve-like shapes kind of like this, one up and one down. Oops, I think this is a little too high. But you can start at the top or the bottom. Getting eyes perfected may take a while. Don't be afraid to erase what you have and draw it again and again. Just do it until you're comfortable with how it looks. And eyes, like just drawing the shape of them can be really difficult for some, so I would highly recommend just practicing eyes. Practice, practice, practice. Like get a sheet of paper and just draw eyes to get comfortable with drawing the shape. So here we have that, and I'm going to draw the eyelid right here. And I can mark where the eyebrow is. That's always important because the eyebrow is definitely a major feature on the face. For the eye, you can begin to draw some of the details. Just sketch out where the approximate location is. I wouldn't perfect one eye until you at least draw out a sketch of the other, because you might change it based on the other to help like fixate where the character, or I mean person, is looking. So this is what I'm doing right now. I'm just sketching and where the bottom eyelid folds. And if your eyes look a little large, that's okay, because you can always expand the shape of the face. I think I might be doing that a little bit more later, but okay, I'm going to use my fingers, or you can use your pencil, just approximate how long your eye was on one side, and you can move that into the other side, just to get a good estimate of where your eyes should be positioned. And one thing you can do as well is draw a line from the top of the eye to the other side, just so you know where the top should be, and same for the bottom. This can help you retain some symmetry to where the eyes line up correctly. I highly recommend doing that. So then from these lines that I drew, I can begin to form the actual shape of the eye. If you guys have questions, I may not be able to get to as many of them today, since I'm also trying to explain the drawing process of actually sketching out the face. So I'll try to get to as many as I can. So like, I guess keep asking throughout the video. Whenever I get to the coloring part later, I'll be able to answer more questions, because like that will just be coloring and I can look up at my phone. But this, I really need to be looking at my paper. So I'm doing the same thing that I did on the other side, just with the left now. And I'm drawing the upper eyelid right here. That's one feature I would say definitely don't miss. Whenever I was younger and I was getting into drawing portraits, I would always miss drawing the upper eyelid folding with the shape of the face and like where the bone structure and the eye is. And that was like a huge feature that could have enhanced my picture. I guess whenever I was younger, I never really noticed it, but I do now, and I strongly suggest that you look at all the details in a portrait that you're drawing, especially major folds like that. Okay, so now for the shape of the nose. Whenever you draw the nose, the only actual lines that you really need are where the nostrils are, because the rest of the nose's shape is created purely by shading. So if you're sketching in pencil, you can just almost like mimic the shading and like shade it for yourself rather lightly, so you understand where everything is located. That's what I'm doing right now. This sometimes helps me if I need the extra help. So I know that I want the bottom of the nose to be about right here. I think I will make the face a little bit longer later on, so I'll erase the bottom for now. But I'll start with the lines that form the shape of the bottom of the nose. And the nostrils play a huge role in that. Hold on, I think I want this to be a little larger. When drawing a nose, some advice I give is that the nose, there are three major spheres that can help you form the shape of the nose. The first one is like the central mass of your nose that sticks out the furthest. And then the other two are those little curves that you have that kind of form a shape around your nostril. Just like that. And by drawing those shapes, you can help create the shape of the nose. And of course, they're not perfectly circular, so you can kind of change that as I draw the nostrils over this, you can see, but you still have this general shape. And once you have an approximate shape, you can erase that. Oops. I see some questions about the pencil. This is just a regular mechanical pencil that you can pick up at Target, Walmart, places like that. It's one that you buy in a package of like 30, I think, for $5. They're really inexpensive. I personally like them. I mean, I've purchased other pencils before, like specific art mechanical pencils, but like sometimes the lead is just like really particular and I can't always find it. It's very like exclusive. Like you'll find like 0.5 lead. I can't always find it at the store, but 0.7 is rather easy. So after that, I'm definitely going to expand the face, make the face a little bit longer to match up with some of the features. There's this little divot between the nose and the lips. That's always important to illustrate because it also helps you space the nose away from the lips, or the lips away from the nose, whatever order you draw it in. And I'll sketch the lips. Oops. Yeah, I definitely needed to make the face a little longer. So the lips, you can keep a simple shape, almost like this obtuse angle right here, almost like a really wide V. You can do that where like directly beneath the nose, and then you can create little lines out to the side to create the upper lip. And let me think where I want to put the corners of the mouth. That's one thing to take into consideration too whenever you're drawing the lip, is approximate where you want the corners of the mouth to be, and wherever that is on one side, you can make it about the same on the other. But it doesn't have to be exact though, because a lot of times like lips, one side can be extended out in one direction longer than the other, which is very common, like especially if you're giving a smirk or something, or like certain smiles, I guess. But I'll connect those with a line. I think I'll give her a slight smile. And some lines, some simple lines can help illustrate a smile. So after that, I'm going in and I'm redrawing the shape of the face. And after this, I'll just go fine tune all the features to where I like them. Like this is everything I did so far is basically just to lay out where everything needs to be. Nothing's finalized here. And drawing the face shape can be really difficult because this can sometimes make it or break it. It's always good to compare it and make sure that the sides are equal in shape and size. But I mean, of course, faces have some parts that are larger than others, but you just want to make sure that it looks okay. I mean, your definition of beauty could be completely different, and that's okay. Just draw what you like. So I'm going to adjust the nose a bit. before I do that, I want to make the eyes look just slightly smaller, not so wide. Hold on. I think I want the mouth to be a little bit smaller too. Sometimes I can be really indecisive whenever I go back and change features or sketch something. But that's okay, because you can always improve it in your own, like, I guess, idealized image of how a painting or a drawing should be. And that's good. Always go back and fix things that you think you can definitely change for the best. So I think I want this upper lip to be a bit smaller. I don't know. Okay. I'm going to round out this part of the eye. And oops, I forgot to draw her other eyebrow. That's okay. I'm going to adjust the upper eyelid. The center of the eye is always one of the most tricky parts to get right. That's what I'm doing right now, is I'm just tuning this to where it looks good. And one thing I recommend doing as well whenever you're sketching, this is a good tip, this goes for sketching, painting, coloring, whatever kind of art that you make. Always take a moment to take a step back and distance yourself from your art, because whenever you're working up close with it, sometimes like you don't really see the whole picture as a viewer normally would standing back a few feet. So always like take an extra minute or so to just step back and look at your piece from afar, and that way you can really pick out anything that looks odd to you. Yeah, sometimes I forget to do that, but I'm trying to do that right now to get these eyes right. That's one of the reasons why, well, I mean, time is the main reason why I don't sketch the pictures for you guys in the videos and I just color them, is because the coloring takes so much time. I wouldn't have time to show you the full sketch, and sometimes sketching is not so clean of a process sometimes. And then again, it all comes back to time. Like in this, I'm not doing full color. I'm just going to be using black, white, and gray. And then this, of course. Okay, that's good for now. And I'm going to finish the shape of the face. Cool thing is, if you map out the hair ahead of time, you know where the hair covers the face, and that's less face that you have to draw and or color. So always keep that in mind. Think of the way that the hair lands on the side of the face and creates a frame for the face. Okay, so I measure that since this is the bottom half of the face, this is the upper half, and the top of the head should be approximately right there. So the hairline is just a little bit, I guess, downwards. It's really hard to describe like the exact distance of where the hairline should start, but just know that the hairline should not start at the very top of the head. Hair, however, remember, it sits on top of the head. It's not like just, I guess, like tattooed onto the head. Unless you're drawing someone with tattooed hair, then that's a different story, but in general, hair just sits on top of the head. And so from the point that's the top of the head, I'm illustrating the hair just slightly above that. Again, I feel like most of drawing is based on just observation and making approximate, I guess, like guesses on where things should be. And that's one thing that's kind of cool about it, is that there isn't really a mathematical formula to creating the perfect face drawing. Well, I mean, you could argue that the golden ratio plays some role in that. For you guys who don't know what that is, it's supposedly the magic ratio that is found in all things nature, and it's also connected to the Fibonacci number. It's basically a pattern that's found in like leaves on a plant, or like the length of a shell of a snail, and the shape of the galaxy and things like that. And it's supposed to be a number that leads to beauty, and the ratios are actually found in some parts of the human body. And it's kind of interesting. I did a research paper on it in school, and I did a study of it in my sketchbook. But whenever you're drawing, it's really unconventional to use the golden ratio and try to draw out diagrams and everything, so just keep it approximate. I'm sorry about that tangent, but okay. So I'm finalizing the face shape. And I'm not really a person to like just draw like pencil sketches and be done with it. I mean, I think most of the magic and color, I mean, just making art comes from the color and the shading that you add into it, because right now these are just basic lines. You'll really see it come to life whenever I add some shading into it. So also sketch out where the neck should be. Oops, that's too far out. Oops, I don't think you guys can see that, but there we go. And this girl's going to have a braid, so I'll just roughly sketch that. Oops, the edge of my pencil is hitting the wall here. Another thing to keep in mind, like, don't just pay attention to where the hair should be at the top of the head. Also approximate where the head would actually be, so the hair everywhere else can be slightly above that. Okay. Done think I want to make this a little slimmer. Oh yeah, I forgot. There's an ear here. However, the ear of this drawing will be mostly covered by hair, so we'll only see the corner of it. I'm taking a lot of time to make sure I get all the lines right, so whenever I go to shade it, I won't have to worry about it then. So bear with me. Okay, that should be good. I'm going to start with the eyes. First, I'm going to color the eyeball part. If you guys saw my eye video last night, you'll see some of the processes I go through whenever drawing eyes. However, this is on a much smaller scale, so it's a lot more difficult to put in that much detail. And besides, like, even if I did put in all that detail, it'd be really difficult to see from afar, such as the distance from my camera to the page. So right now, I'm just drawing it. I'll add in the pupil with black. Oh, right now I'm using the black colored pencil, by the way, because the darkest parts I really want colored with this. And I'm going to color the top of it where it's shaded dark black. Make the pupil a bit bigger. Shade downwards. And I'll use a little bit of gray. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do some eyelashes. Drawing eyelashes on smaller drawings can be a lot easier because it's just a quick little stroke upwards rather than one, like a good couple of inches on the page. And that comes in handy whenever you have a tiny pencil. And some bottom lashes as well. To answer a question in the comment, how long have I been doing this? I've been drawing since middle school, but I've been drawing portraits since between 8th and 9th grade. Okay, and I'll color in the other side, and after that I'll add some reflections to the eye, which is my favorite part. I'll be doing that with acrylic paint, just regular white acrylic paint from the craft store. draw eyelashes here as well. Okay, and for the reflections, I just use a few little drops of acrylic paint. Again, this is just regular acrylic paint from the craft store, nothing special. Just a few little dots can help enhance the eyes. Okay, after that I'm going to begin on shading the face. Well, let me find my pencil sharpener. Okay, so some of the darker areas I'm going to start with black. Oops, that broke. If you hold your pencil at the side, you can cover a larger area and it can create this nice, like, softer color. Like, for example, this is a softer black, and this can easily be blended with another color if I needed it to be. This way I can shade with the black. And for this video, I'm doing just black and white coloring because it's a lot easier than doing the color, because color takes a lot of time. That's why the videos that I do use color, I'm coloring the entire time and not drawing the face. But for this purpose, I'm just going to be using black and white. And after shading some of the areas around the eye, I'm going to start forming the shape of the nose with my black pencil. I said earlier, what really makes the nose is the shading on it, not the lines, because really, like I said, the only lines that you're drawing are for the nostrils and the areas right around the nostrils. Everything else, such as the middle part of the nose, it's all created by shading. I know that whenever I was younger and I was drawing noses, I would draw like these like really bold lines on the side that went from like the length of the eye all the way down to the bottom of the nose, and that was like a child's drawing of a nose, because I used to associate lines with everything, even if it was just a shaded area. So the bottom of the nose right here, earlier I was talking about how like the middle portion of the nose is almost like a sphere that's underneath the skin of your nose, and so you can shade it kind of like a sphere. Here I'm using I'm shading in like almost a circular motion where this forms a sphere, and I'm shading the bottom of that. But before I go any further on that, I'm going to color in the nostrils with black, just so I know where they are. I mean, these don't change much. Just like that. And I'm going to begin shading. Oh, continue shading. I already started. And so you see how you get this spherical shape right here? That's what you want. I mean, this isn't for every single nose out there, but it's a good rule of thumb when drawing noses in general. Again, like, these shading tips can't apply to every portrait that you draw because there's just so much diversity in the shape of every facial feature on the face. So these are just in general things that I commonly do while sketching. Let me clean up some of these pencil lines. And one thing that definitely helps with the shading, this is one of the reasons why I use tone gray paper, is because I feel like you can make more realistic shading on tone gray paper, because not only are you applying the black and the darker colors to create shading, but you can also apply the white to create the lightest parts. And this is where you can really get in the full range of values, because the gray is a neutral color. It's kind of like, it's halfway between the black and white scale. So on top of adding black, you can add white. And you can see how that really does enhance the shading on this piece. Deanna, yes, I buy my tone gray paper at Hobby Lobby. This is the only time I've purchased it, but you can also get it on Amazon. I think Amazon always has it in stock, so it's probably easier to get that way. And Hobby Lobby, their prices change sometimes, but like, I don't remember what the price was whenever I bought it at Hobby Lobby. Could be different, but just know Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Amazon. Those are the 3 places to go to for art supplies. And when shading the cheek, if you feel your face around, this is actually something that can be kind of entertaining whenever you're trying to learn like how to shade a face, is just like feel the area around your eye, and you will know that the area around the eye socket, wherever that bone is, it usually brings your skin forward a bit, and therefore making it a little bit lighter whenever you just have like normal lighting shown onto you. So this area right here I make fairly light. And I found that most of the time circular patterns work best for coloring things that are smooth like skin. So I work outward with that. And since white is such a light color, as you're shading outwards, if you want to transition from the color of the paper to the white a little bit more easily. You can erase the end of the white. Just make sure that whenever you do so, you clean off your eraser somewhere else on the page, because it can smear in with the white and it will do the opposite of what you wanted. So that's clean enough. And you can erase the white. So again, the pencils I'm just using black Prismacolor and white Prismacolor. I also use gray for the eye, but I don't know if I'll be using the gray for any other parts of the face. Right now I'm shading the area below the nose. Whenever you look at pictures and just like I guess standard lighting where the light is above the figure, since the nose sticks out, there will be a shadow that is below the nose. So you can just create like a little shape that would appear on the face if you have light casted on the nose to where the nose leaves a shadow. However, make it really light, and if you overdo it, it can look kind of odd, but just always keep in mind like where your light source is. This is just a standard light source, or I guess the light is just slightly above the person. So I do that, and if you lightly sketch with black, you should be able to erase the edges to give it more of a softer edge and transition into the gray. However, it doesn't erase as well as the white does because it's such a darker pigment. So this little line that I'm making right here, this is where her cheek is being pushed up by the corner of her mouth slightly because she's going to have just the slightest grin, which will be illustrated right here. Now, whenever I look back at some of my older drawings of people, I notice that like this whole area right here, it was just one flat color whenever I used to color whenever I was younger, because like I didn't really pay as much attention to the structure of the face to where you have all these different shadings. Like for example, the cheeks right here starting right above the mouth, these can be shaded differently than you would if you were to shade it flat. Usually there's like, it's almost like a roundish shape to where it's slightly shadowed at the bottom, which is right across from the mouth right here, and it's lighter at the top up to where the bottom of your eye socket is. And whenever you're drawing portraits, and one thing that helps contribute to showing like aging on a portrait is enhancing the lines that you see if you were to put a really big smile on your face, because over time, like if you've smiled so much in your life, you do get these folds on your face. Like just if you're drawing someone and you want to help or express that, do that. If you're drawing a portrait and it's of an older person and it doesn't look old enough, just if you enhance those lines right here, like I guess you can call them smile lines or laughter lines, that can help you increase the age of the portrait and make them look older, because whenever you're drawing younger children, you don't necessarily see that as much, especially like toddlers and babies. You won't really see those lines as highlighted, especially with the resting face, because sometimes like on older figures that you draw, you definitely see it more pronounced in a resting position. And when coloring the lips in a standard lighting location, just typically the upper lip is a bit darker than the bottom. That's just something I've noticed as a pattern in a lot of different faces that I've drawn. And it just helps make your picture look nice and enhance it. So I have my upper lip right here, and my lower one will be slightly lighter. And to illustrate texture on lips, because lips do definitely have texture, you draw little lines that are vertical. They may be really difficult to see here. Again, like the smaller the face you draw, the harder it is to put in all this detail. So just a few lines. You don't want to overdo it though, because if the lines are all too bold, it may look odd. There's that. And I'm going to add a little bit of white on the bottom lip just to give it some lightness. And usually you do get some shading between the lips and the chin. This can be illustrated just with a quick little shape of color below. In the chin, I'm going to use some white shade. And before I go anywhere else, I'm going to color in the eyelashes. I'm just going to use black. Now, whenever you're drawing eyelashes, you can keep it really simple and just create lines that flow in the direction of the eyelashes, which is almost like it's almost like halfway, but it's almost like, I guess in this direction it would be northeast, facing that way. They don't go directly up, directly sideways, or down. It's kind of like flowing slightly upwards, but in the direction to the other side of the face. Again, drawing small means less details, and the details are compromised. But I think you guys can, or you'll be able to see some of the lines here. And this is done best with a sharpened pencil. Unfortunately, I can't get this black pencil too sharp without eating the entire thing up. But that's okay. I actually think I'm going to Hobby Lobby tomorrow, so maybe I'll pick up a new one then. I hope so. I need one. Or a pencil extender. I think I'll buy both. And if you hold your pencil at an angle to where the wooden part is almost touching the paper, you can shade like this, which is really useful for shading larger areas. I'm gonna clean up a few of these pencil lines. That's another thing. Make sure you go back and erase some of your early pencil lines because it can blend in with the white and kind of tint the color in a way that you won't necessarily want it to. But at the same time, it could be a stylistic thing. I've done plenty of sketches in my sketchbook to where everything looks rough and really sketchy, but like, even though it's not that clean, it can still look good because it's that artistic flair. Because, I mean, it's kind of cool to see things drawn with, like, a certain, like, sketch style to it, to where it definitely looks like a drawing. And that's what's fun about art, is that it doesn't have to look entirely realistic to be good. Like, that's something that I want, especially the younger viewers, to remember out there, that art doesn't need to be realistic to be good. And, because art, like some of the best pieces of art out there, they don't look realistic, and that's okay, because it's all about your own creativity and imagination that can help create a piece look good. So whatever younger viewers are watching right now, remember that. And right now I'm just repeating a lot of the things that I did on the right side of the face to the left side of the face. Right now I'm just cleaning off my eraser so I can help transition some of this black into the gray. unfortunately I only have 3 minutes, so I don't have time to really show you guys the hair, but I'll consider maybe starting tomorrow's video with the hair. Right now I'm just doing a sketchy line, and maybe tomorrow's video, like I said, I'll do the first part with the hair and then I can do something else later on. But I'm definitely going to help make the shape of the hair right now. The face is done for the most part. I mean, honestly, like I could sit here all day and like finely tune some of the features, but I don't know if that's an efficient use of time because I also have to do the hair on this. I really like how this is turning out with the black and white shading. It's always a lot of fun doing this. Like, for some reason, I just really like doing these black and white portraits. I mean, colored portraits are fun as well, but doing this on tone gray paper, it's really nice because, like I said, the tone gray lets you not only just shade black, but it lets you shade in white as well. You're adding the white. It's not just that the white is already beneath you on the page. You actually get to put it in there, and the gray is just like a neutral color. And that's what's really cool about it. So if you guys haven't tried tone gray paper yet, I highly recommend that you do so. I know I say this in every video, but I feel very strongly about tone gray paper. It's one of my personal favorites. Before I end the video though, I will shade the neck right here. This should be easy. Oh, for Trina in the comments going to Michael's, make sure you look at the coupon on Michael's website before you go. You can save 40% off on any item in the store, which includes these Prismacolor pencils. So make sure you get that before you go. You'll save a lot of money doing so. I mean, that's how I buy all of my art supplies. I always use the coupon. I don't think I've ever made a purchase at a craft store without using their coupon. The coupon you can just find on their website. And this is for both Hobby Lobby and Michael's. Alright, it's 10:30 now. I had a lot of fun drawing this for you guys and explaining some of the processes and some of the thoughts that I go through while drawing. I hope you guys learned something. If you're interested in getting a portrait like this done for you, like of yourself or someone you know, please contact me through Instagram on direct message and we can work out a commission together. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure you go follow me on Instagram. The link to that is in the description of the video. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Oh, 9:30.